Hey, Vihar. Hey, Harshil. Hey, Andrea. How are you doing?
Hello, nice to see you. I'm well, thank
Yeah,
you.
Hey, doing good. How are you all doing?
doing well. So, Harshil, I'm guessing you're joining in from Berlin.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay, awesome. I'm joining in from Bangalore. And Andrea, are you from Florida? I think that's what I saw on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, I am on the west coast of Florida, so about an hour away from Tampa.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Nice. It's awesome, right? People from three continents on a single call. It's crazy. Couldn't have happened without Zoom and COVID.
100%.
So we're gonna get started in another minute. We have quite a few people here and more people on the YouTube live stream. I guess it's getting cold everywhere, right? It's good time for a hoodie. We're actually giving away a hoodie as a part of Hacktoberfest, so I'm excited to get mine.
I saw that. I love how you're doing tiers for rewards. So for the amount of contributions that you contribute, it depends what swag reward you get. That's pretty clever.
So Abhishek, we are also live on YouTube. Let's wait for 2 more minutes. I still see people joining, and then we can get started.
Okay, sounds good. And if there are any questions from YouTube, you can just go ahead and paste them in chat. So because I'm not watching YouTube here.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you, Bhargav. My microphone had disconnected. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have three wonderful panelists here We have Andrea from GitHub. Then we have Harshil from N8N. And we have Nader, I hope I'm getting your name right, from Supabase. And I'm Abhishek. I'm one of the co-founders of Appsmith, another open source project. So I'm super excited to talk to all of our panelists about what we are going to do for Hacktoberfest and why open source is awesome, and just generally talk about software. Really excited to have everyone here. So first, these are our three panelists here today. We have Andrea joining in from Florida, Harshil from Berlin, and Nader, I believe, from LA or Mississippi. Nader, if you're around, say hello. Okay, I don't think Nader is here yet.
Yeah, I just pinged him, Abhishek. He'll I'll get back to you. I think he's having some internet issues.
Okay, sounds good. No worries at all. So, and we have a lot of viewers from all different continents here. So it's really exciting to just be talking here. Before we go into what each one of us is doing for Hacktoberfest, for people who are new to Hacktoberfest, let's talk a bit about Hacktoberfest and what is Hacktoberfest and why should you participate. So first, Hacktoberfest is a month-long virtual event to celebrate open source. And this is the place where this is the time for you to get into open source if you've never contributed, because not only do you get to participate, but you can also get some fun swag. And that's part of the draw of why Hacktoberfest is just so loved by people. It was originally started by DigitalOcean, but now I would like to think that all of us kind of own it and all of us contribute to it. So it's a really nice event that's been going on for the last 9 years. This is my personal third Hacktoberfest, and I'm excited to keep participating in it for a while. Like I said, people who participate in this are going to get swag from DigitalOcean, but you also have swag from companies that projects that participate in Hacktoberfest. For example, Appsmith. You should look out for Appsmith swag. We're giving away t-shirts, water bottles, stickers, and hoodies for people who are contributing to our project. And you can contribute bug fixes, documentation fixes, or tutorials, really like anything. And everything is very, very helpful. So how do you actually participate? What are the processes here? It's fairly simple. The first thing that you need to do is register on Hacktoberfest's official website. That's on hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. You can just Google and find it. And after you register there, then go and find a project that you really like, a project that you've been using, a project that maybe has this bug that they're refusing to fix, or they just don't have the time to fix it. Go find that project and then contribute to it. Be a nice contributor, do something productive, help out a maintainer by communicating well, writing a good PR, commenting your code, and then you can earn some real nice swag. Thanks, Harshil, for pasting that link. So this is about Hacktoberfest. Now let's move on to and listen from our guests here about what they are looking forward to doing in Hacktoberfest. So first, I have Andrea here, who's a senior product manager at GitHub. Andrea has had a really interesting career. Before working at GitHub as a product manager as well as a community manager, she's actually worked in construction, customer support, and even in the army. Is that right? Did you? Wow.
Yes, a very unconventional path, to say the least.
Yeah, totally. That's pretty insane and really, really cool. So Andrea, would love to know about what you at GitHub you're doing for the Hacktoberfest, and what does it look like for you, Hacktoberfest? Is it a crazy time? Is it business as usual? And would love to know, how do you think we should all be doing well in Hacktoberfest?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited to be here today with all of you. I actually have three super, I guess, productivity and collaboration tools that I like to share, but maybe we'll get to that a little later. But yes, this is a busy time for sure. Our partners at DigitalOcean do all the heavy lifting, but still, there is increase on, we have to make sure we're monitoring and taking care of our maintainers. I don't want to remember, but last year was a bit of a confusing time. So it's excellent that we were able to quickly add the option for folks to opt into Hacktoberfest if they were seeking contributions from open source contributors for their projects. So it is a busy time. We also have GitHub Universe coming up on October 27, 28 with orbital events before and after. So there's definitely a lot going on, but I think this is the time that most of us at GitHub are super energized and excited. We get to do a lot of community things, which is always awesome to be able to connect with all of you and share a little bit about how we're approaching the work, and then see how we can empower you and enable you to do your best work, right?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And you mentioned about those tools. We'd actually love it if you can talk about it now. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I mean,
yeah,
no, I can share my screen, and this is not going to be, it's not going to be a super long deck. So fear not, I'm not going to just bore you to tears with slides. But I do want to share three things, especially because this morning I had my skip level 101, and my skip level is Martin Woodward, who is I think his new title is All Things at GitHub. And so Martin actually has shared with me a couple of things, and it just sparked an idea. So I have a really fun call to action for the folks that are tuning in today. And I'd love to be able to share with you. And then there might or might not be some screen caps, like the little Adafruit mechanical keyboard cherry keycaps, and some stickers and some other swag for folks that actually complete the challenge, maybe. So I'd love for everyone to just have an opportunity to take a look at that. So thank you so much for the kind introduction. This is me. I'm Andrea. I am, again, super random and interesting path to technology, but here I am. And I think I skipped way too many slides, but here we go. So obviously, I want to just, first of all, acknowledge my gratitude for everyone being here. I know that this might be your lunchtime, your bedtime, and we all have things to do. So I appreciate you spending some time with us today and being involved in Hacktoberfest. And then another acknowledgement I like to make is that I understand there are other version control tools out there. There is GitLab, there is SourceForge, there is JetBrains, there's a ton of stuff happening. I want everyone here to feel empowered to use the tool that works best for your workflows and for what you're trying to accomplish. So just because I come from GitHub, I'm here as a community person and open source supporter. So don't feel tied down to this specific tools. Of course, it helps that the Appsmith repos are hosted on GitHub. So if you are eager and keen on participating in their challenges, then you come to the right place. So there are three things why I think that we should stay in GitHub, of course, and that's awareness, benefit, and connection. Super simple ABC. You're creating your digital portfolio, whether we like it or not. The way that we contribute is becoming sort of our CV in a way, right? Like more recruiters than not are browsing through the pages and taking a look and seeing what contributions you've done, whether they be code or not code. So definitely making people aware of your talent is important. Benefits to the project, helping out maintainers. My gosh, the burden of maintainership is so huge, and maintainers are angels. I always say whoever takes this on is because they truly care about the projects, they care about helping and teaching, because it's not easy to have a job and then have another job. So shout out to all the maintainers who are listening. Thank you. And then connection, you're already doing that. You're here, we're talking, we can connect on LinkedIn, Twitter, but of course you can connect at a repository and project level using discussions. And that's one of the tools I want to share. So of course, GitHub is the home for open source. I want to go ahead and write that in. You already thought about what contributions you want to contribute to this month and beyond. Maybe you've already been contributing to open source, and so you decided, yes, this is it, I'm doing it, it's going to happen in GitHub. So I'm just going to share three things that I think can help you bring your relationship with open source to the next level, and then some tools that we have, some exciting, interesting things, and then we'll do our little call to action. So it's going to be rather fast. for those of you who don't know about GitHub CLI, I encourage you to take a look, to install it and go with it. GitHub CLI is a command line tool that is bringing basically the terminal the GUI, so the GitHub platform right into your terminal. One of my favorite things about the GitHub CLI, besides the fact that it's a fantastic, amazing, and powerful tool, is that it's free and open source. So if you're someone who is into the developer tools, if you're someone who prefers to not switch context between you're on the terminal, now let me go to GitHub on the platform and figure out what's happening here. Definitely super keen tool for you to use, and it's so user-friendly. The community is really amazing and growing, and the fact that it's a free and open source project helps you can make it your own. You can do a lot of things with GitHub CLI. Most recently, we added the capability of run, view, and list workflows for GitHub Actions. So if you're someone that has a lot of actions and processes taking place, you can now do all that and right from your terminal. You don't even have to come onto the main site, which is really cool. Installation, super simple. I took a quick snippet of my terminal there using Brew. Shout out to the maintainers of the Brew project. They're amazing. Or you can go directly into the github.com/CLI and download it from there. So if you haven't tried it, definitely encourage you to try it. There's a lot of stuff happening on terminal and producing that command line tool environment now that is really exciting. So be a part of that. Please check it out. Then discussions, GitHub Discussions, as I mentioned earlier, we can connect in all kinds of places. We can talk about the goals that you have for your contributions, the goals that you might have, the plans for your project. It's really nice to be able to connect with the people in the community and the maintainers in a one-on-one basis. And no better place to do that than GitHub Discussions. What GitHub Discussions is basically like a Discord right inside your repo. You do have to enable it. It's an open forum for conversations, so you can talk to others, collaborate, figure out what projects you want to tackle together. So kind of like issues, but reducing again a lot of that noise, because you're only going to go into discussions that are pertinent to you. So really exciting tool. Super simple. If any of you listening today are part of a open source project and you see that discussions is not enabled, check with the maintainers of the project and figure it out. Maybe it might be by design. Maybe they don't want to have discussions, but you do have to opt in, and setting up is super simple. So maybe for lack of awareness, you can share that. And then if you yourself own a project and would like to enable discussions, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's super quick. All you have to do is from your settings, and I'll go ahead and click here. I'm using the GitHub Docs repo as an example. So simple. Click on settings, quite literally super fast. Then, then you go ahead and click on set up discussions, and that's going to take you through a template of the things that you need to have in order to enable it. And then finally, you just start discussing. That's it. 3 simple clicks, and now you have a mini community living inside your project. And this is going to make a lot of people happy, but styling with Markdown, drag and drop, that is supported. So it's, even though it's more of a, I guess, spoken communication and written communication type of tool, you can add your code and it will be recognized, and you can use Markdown, which is something that we use, especially when we're talking about documenting things. So if you haven't, go check it out, join, set up GitHub Discussions, suggest it to the maintainers on your projects. And then the third tool I want to share, and is something that just came out and is so fun, is the GitHub.dev experience. And I believe I might have heard someone from the company in a past stream mentioning about hitting the dot, and then what happens when you punch the period on your keyboard, and it's magic, right? So this is really exciting, especially if you're someone who has seen the buzz about code spaces. Similar concept, except that this is going to be owned by you. It's going to be happening right there on your terminal. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to add any other tools or platforms onto your machine to be able to access it. So it's really a super simple way to collaborate. So I particularly love this. And this is the repo that I created for our little experiment call to action. So I'm going to go ahead and go there so that we can all see it together. And it's under my profile, of course, and it's just simply Hacktoberfest 21, very creative name. And so I created this repo with the only purpose to demonstrate how we can go ahead and access the editor. And what happens when you use the GitHub.dev experiences, you have the power of VS Code right there in front of you, online, again, without having to add anything specific. So if you are somewhere else away from your usual machine where you work, you don't even need to worry about setting your environment because it's going to be already set there for you. You can enable to have it sync with your general settings from VS Code. So it's really cool. And one way you can do it is, and this is my favorite way because it's so cool. You just hit the dot and here it comes. Or you can, of course, just go ahead and amend this instead of .com, .dev, and that will also bring up your editor to load. So we'll go ahead and get it to come up, and you can see it's going to look super familiar. So if you use VS Code, this is going to be already a very, I guess, usual work environment. Setting up this web editor is gonna feel like you are where you used to work. A couple of different things is that, of course, you don't have to add anything else. Just simply by default is set to create the editor, open it for you. You can preset so that if you want to have your settings synchronize with the settings for your VS Code. I have that set up because I wanted to remember exactly the way that I like to work on VS Code. So super cool. You can see how it just is opening the editor and it's taking a little while. I have a ton of tabs. And you can see how my file structure is here. So this repository is just a pages repository. It's nothing super exciting. It's just something that I spun up quickly to be able to show you the tool itself. And I can come here now if I want to add images, if I want to edit from right here from this editor window, I can do it. So that's really a simple way, lowering the barrier to entry if you're wanting to collaborate in a project, but you're not sure how to get started. So obviously this is my repo. I have push privileges and I own the repo, so I can do everything to it. So if you do use this tool and this experience to collaborate in open source, you will have to fork your project. So if you go to the Appsmith repositories and you decide that you want to contribute, then you'll need to fork it and create your own branch, and then you can start using this. So it's going to be loading up those that editor open for you, and then you make the changes and then you can push them. So I just want to quickly share how the file structure is displayed because I just find it so super user-friendly. And then if you are working on documentation, a really cool thing that you can do, if you saw where I click on the top right, there is this little window and it enables to render your Markdown files. So if your contribution is on documentation, this is a good way to make sure that you're typing away, but you're still keeping the naming structure or the conventional design that folks have set up for the documentation. So love this. It does it for you, and it doesn't take but a few seconds. Just let me spin it up real quick. And then, of course, if you're ready to go back to the UI, once you make changes, like we can go ahead and just add an exclamation point because you are here, and I am excited and grateful for you to be here, and you are making our community great. So it requires many exclamation points. But you can see now that I've done that, and there's a lot of formatting things, like it's trying to figure out what is this weird file. But you can see how automatically like my pending changes are already here. And then I can give it my commit message, just super simple, just something silly, like you're awesome, which is that silly. And you can see how now it's saying that these changes are going to be committed directly to that branch, to the GitHub Pages branch on GitHub. So if we go back to GitHub, you'll be able to see the actual repository. And let me just click back. It's not opening for me, but fear not, I can find it. I know where it is. And you'll be able to see how it actually, for GitHub Pages, is kicked off the CI/CD process on building the pages automatically. So it's already, excuse my background screen there. This is doing all my, while that loads, I'll share with you an event that we have going on after this. Please join us. We're going to talk to somebody about special projects. Yes, I'll share more about that in a moment. Yes, that's coming up. So here we go. Here is the repo. I am back again on the UI, and then I hope I pushed it with enough time. I should be able to see the process. You can see like 2 hours ago, I might have X out of that too quickly when I didn't have a chance to go ahead and update. But no worries, here we go. It's already doing it. You can go ahead and compare and pull, or you can just commit directly in this case, because again, I own the repo, I have the permissions that I need. So, but before you start using this experience, definitely check with the material. So it does take a little bit for it to load up. Let me see if I can see the process of the build. Where are you? We'll go back to the code here. Okay, so you can see my little GitHub Pages environment set there, and see how now, quite literally right now, it just kicked off that build for us to add that exclamation point, that amazing contribution I just gave to myself. And I want to say it's probably done by now. And you can go ahead and click on view, and voila, you made it. So you can see how the page renders is there. I have a little table set up here for you to check out. And this is what I want to have the call to action for all of you to participate in this little mini game we're going to make up as we go. So super simple, really easy way. I can go ahead and do it again from here, and it'll just take me right back to that same environment. So it's a really unique and just user-friendly tool. I love Codespaces for this very reason, because I love VS Code experience. It just feels very native to me. I prefer to see the code structure in a more, I guess, organized way. That's just the way that I work better. And then for all of us who are not lazy, but efficient, having that drag and drop capability is so great. So that if you are adding assets, if you're you're trying to explain on a snippet how a certain portion of your tool or your code works, you can just record it and then just drag and drop it, which is amazing. So definitely encourage everyone to give that a little spin. It doesn't cost anything. It's 100% free. And if you want to contribute to an open source project, any project, you can go ahead and work on this virtual editor. And remember to sync your VS Code settings so that it remembers. So really fun tools for collaboration, tools that would try and make it easier for people to actually get inspired and come and participate. So to close up, I just want to do our little call to action, and then we can go ahead and move on with the rest of, I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about. But basically, let me just go back to my GitHub Pages branch here with my extra exclamation point, which is great. So it's very simple. I would like for you to come into this repo and add your handle to the table. And then that's it. It's literally that simple. Add your handle to the table. I want to say I have the, oh, sorry, wrong. I have the, oh yeah, I do have a space for your username, for your title, and then you can use your avatar from GitHub as well. All you have to do is just drop that avatars.github user content and then the / with your user handle, and it will automatically pull it. If not, if you want to add something else, go for it. But I'd love to see how many of you actually do it. And then I don't know, I'll try and do something like a random draw and then maybe give out some swag that way. But if you want to get your, I guess, your toes, dip your toes in the water and you're unsure about pushing any kind of code, this is a fun way for you to at least try the editor environment on the cloud and then go ahead and contribute to my project, which is, I don't think it counts for Hacktoberfest, but it'll count for me, and I will enter you in the draw for some swag. So definitely, everyone, I encourage you to come in and check that out. So the URL is super simple. It's my name, github.com / Andrea Griffiths 11, and then / Hacktoberfest 21, which is for this year. So definitely check it out. And that's it. We are still the home for open source. I had to give a shout out to my partner in crime who helps me with some graphics. And then please feel free to connect with me on Twitter. I'm happy to take questions about either the 3 tips that I gave or anything else, really. Pretty open book when it has to be with open source. And yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. I'm sure we'll talk about more things. So I'll stop sharing now so folks have an opportunity to just chat away.
Thanks, Andrea. That was really awesome. Using dot on a GitHub repo is my favorite thing. It just takes me seconds to contribute and not have to set anything up on my machine. That's awesome. So thank you so much for showing that. And it sounds like you're having a lot of fun at GitHub. So many new people to meet, so many new contributors to meet. That's super cool.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of my job. Coming to talking to you all, sharing some of the cool things that we're doing, and definitely everyone tune into GitHub Universe because the surprises are aplenty. There's like gonna be just some amazing releases, so you don't want to miss it for sure. Check it out, githubuniverse.com. I think I cut someone off that was going to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I think we are good. Folks, please feel free to leave comments on YouTube chat or on Zoom chat, and we're going to answer them. So Andrea, did you think like tech was going to be that much fun when you got into it?
So, and I'm sure like folks here that are watching, like you are probably the person. What do I mean by that? Like if your auntie's phone breaks, they bring it to you because you work with computers, don't you? So fix this. The neighbor, like they always think that you're like, oh, somebody hacked my printer or something. They're like, come to you. Like, so I've always been that person in my life where I was always trying to find ways to automate things. Like I absolutely love, and again, it's not about being lazy, it's about being efficient. And so I was, regardless of the role I was in, I was always looking for where is the technological angle? How can I improve the performance of X, Y, or Z? How can I make this easier, simpler to understand, better to communicate it? So I've always been kind of like that person. So I enjoyed that. Never did it in an official capacity until I came into the world of technology full time and working for software companies. But yeah, it's always been kind of a part of me that just brings me a lot of joy, right? Like some people like to run, some people like to hack. So yeah, it's really fun. It's fun. And the more you learn, one of my most favorite things about being in this industry is that literally you are never going to stop learning. Like the technology we're using now, 10 years from now, yeah, sure, it'll still be around, but there might be newer and better things for collaboration, for co-hosting, for whatever it is. So you're a forever student, which I love that. Yeah, so it is fun. It is.
Yeah,
I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I think just like you, I got into open source quite late in my 30s. And it's surprising how welcoming this whole community is. So it's been just wonderful for me as well. So we're going to talk to our next panelist, Harshil here, who works at one of my favorite companies, which is N8N, or what Zapier should have been, is how I like to think of it. And we're just going to, let me just find my slides here. Yes. Here we go. So Harshil, he's been a developer advocate at N8N for just less than a year, and before that, he spent about a year being a coach at MLH, and he's just loved by so many people. Already on our YouTube channel, we've had one person say, "Thank you, Harshil, for helping me." So that just shows how involved he is with the community. And like I said, N8N is something that I love because it just makes something complicated, something that would have taken a lot of code, just so much simpler. And you would try it out and you would think it's simple and limited, but it does so much that developers just love using it. And that's the reason I think it's, you just feel refreshed when you move from something like Zapier, which is a lot simpler and limited, versus when you move to N8N. And we love using N8N at Appsmith. We've done a bunch of tutorials. Users like building both these things together. So Harshil, over to you. Would love to hear what you've been up to and how's Berlin like?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Abhishek. What I have been up to, so that's an interesting question. I have been working on a couple of projects of my own apart from N8N for Hacktoberfest. So that has been really interesting. And Berlin is getting cold. Someone who's just moved from India, it's really cold.
Yeah, and the data prices are high, right? The other day I saw that you ran out of data and you were shocked at how expensive data is in Berlin.
Yeah, let's just not get into it.
So Harshil, do you wanna talk a bit about what you all are up to for Hacktoberfest? What are your plans like for this month, and how can contributors help you out?
Sure, definitely. If I can just share my screen, I'll
Yes,
go
please
through a
go
few
for it.
slides. Let's see. I hope I get the correct screen. All right. So first of all, let me start with thanking to the Appsmith team for inviting me to talk about N8N and open source, because both of them have been really close to me. So thank you. And we also love trying out different things and building the IUI with Appsmith. So it's a really good combination. And I know Appsmith has been promoting the SHAN stack, that's Supabase, Appsmith, and N8N, which is really cool. And all these projects are open source, so people can contribute to these projects and build their own applications on top of that. But let me start with talking about N8N. And before jumping into it, let me give a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Harshil, as you all might know now, and I work in the developer relations team at N8N. And I have contributed to various open source projects and like Gatsby.js and Firefox. It was a really exciting journey and is an exciting journey, when you contribute to open source projects. And if you ever want to talk about automation or just, open source, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. I am very active on Twitter. So let's start with, understanding what N8N is. So basically it's an extendable workflow automation tool. So with extendable, it means, you can add your own custom functions, logics, or apps. So let's just say you want to connect a service that does not have an integration in N8N, or it does not have a particular functionality or a feature that you are looking for. You can always code that and use it in your own N8N instance. So that's the beauty of it. We have a fair code distribution model. So, with visible source code. So you can navigate to our GitHub repository. You can take a look at the source code. You can contribute to the project. We also have a documentation, which is also open source. So you can contribute that as well. And the fun part is you can self-host N8N. So if someone who does not want to pay, pay us for managing your servers, you can always self-host N8N on your own servers, try it out. And with self-hosting, it gives you a lot of functionality because you can add a lot of custom features. And I have been testing them out a lot. So I am going to do a quick demo since we are talking about Hacktoberfest and open source. I thought about why not, give a shout out to people who give a star to our repository, because that's also something that I love and people give a star to my project. So let's start with that. So I am going to start with the GitHub trigger node. Now, again, there are different kinds of node in N8N, regular nodes and trigger node. Now, because we want to, automatically run this workflow, we need a GitHub trigger node. And okay, I am going to be a bit biased over here. I don't like creating credentials and managing credentials. That is one of the reasons I use a self-hosted service, that's N8N Cloud. Now, because I have already my credentials set up, I can simply select those credentials and then start using it. Now, in the repository owner, I'm just going to select one of my repositories. Let's see the name over here. This should work, register / command. So this is basically a CLI tool that I created to register a Discord / command. So if you love Discord, you might know that they recently came up with a / command. So, you can have a / command for anything. Earlier, it was a bit difficult with Discord and managing the bots, but this gives you a lot of flexibility. All right, enough of Discord. I'm going to save my workflow so that the webhook gets registered in my repository. And let's see if I can quickly find the project. All right. So I have already given it a star. So I'm just going to unstar this, go back to my workflow, execute this, and I'm going to give it a star again. Awesome. So you see that the node got executed and we have all the information coming in from the GitHub API. So it gives us the information about the repository. It gives us the information about the owner. It also gives us the information about the user who gave the star. Now that we have this information coming in, there is a check that I need to do and to make sure that I am only tweeting, when someone is giving a star to the repository and not when someone is unstarring the repository. So for that, we have a core node, that's if node. So if you are not familiar with programming, it's going to be pretty simple over here. So if basically, it's going to do if this, then we want to do something. If not, then you want to do something else. So it's basically checking on the rules, creating some rules over here. So again, you can have different kind of data types. Because I'm going to select string value, I'm going to go ahead and select string. Now this information is going to come from the previous node. So I'm going to go ahead and select it from the previous node. Now, because I have played a lot around with the GitHub API, I know the action that I want to check is created. So whenever someone gives a star to your repo, GitHub sends the created action, and that's what I want to check. So if this incoming action equals to created, I want to do something. So if I execute this now, we see that it returns the information from the true branch. So that's wonderful. Now, one thing that the GitHub API does not give you is the Twitter username of the user who has, give you a star. And for that, we are gonna interact with the GitHub's GraphQL API and get that information. So this is no magic. I already had a similar workflow. I just copy and pasted the nodes. So that's another cool feature in N8N is that you can copy nodes or you can copy the whole workflows. I'm going to connect it over here. So just to give you a look. So I'm just making a query and just fetching the Twitter username. If I execute this, I get the Twitter username. That's perfectly fine. And then I'm going to use a function node over here. So if you want, you can even write custom JavaScript codes inside your own workflow, which makes it really flexible. So what this function over here is doing, it's checking, if the user that we queried for, do they have a handler registered or the Twitter handler registered on GitHub? If not, we are simply sending this message like, hey, thank you, user, and then the username, and then the rest of the message. But if they have the GitHub username, the Twitter username register, we are making sure that we tag them. Now, if I execute this, we see it's using the Twitter username and adding the @ symbol. And the last thing we want to do is we just want to pass on this message to Twitter. And that's where we use the Twitter node. Again, using my own credentials. And I'm gonna simply use the message from the previous node. And that's it. So if I execute the node and everything seems to be working over here. So I should be able to see a tweet thanking myself, starting my own repository over here. And I know a lot of my friends are gonna start commenting on that, but that's completely fine. So this is a small demo, and I absolutely love this kind of workflows because it motivates your contributors. It gives them a motivation of working and contributing to your project. Now this was a small demo, but I have been playing around with a couple of other examples. One of these examples I believe would be really helpful for maintainers, because oftentimes with Hacktoberfest there are a lot of issues and a lot of pull requests coming in. So for a maintainer, what they can do is they can select, instead of the star event, they can select the issue event or the issue comment event. Then, they can pass on that comment. See, if someone is asking, to get assigned to that issue, fine, that's perfect. If someone is asking for that, move forward, check if someone is already assigned to that issue or not. right? And based on that, send a response, basically add a comment tagging that user. So that's one of the things that a maintainer can add, which kind of reduces their burden and helps them to have their mental peace. And that's completely not possible when there are a lot of thousands of comments coming in, but this kind of reduces the friction over there. So that was a small demo around this workflow that I wanted to share. But talking about how you can contribute, so there are different ways. Now, you can always start answering questions on the community forum, because community forum is, I believe, the best place where you can actually learn a lot about the tool when you are answering someone else's question. And trust me, these are not my words. I was talking to one of our community members. He is really active. You can check it out on our forum. His discourse handler is Joff. So he's really active, and you can see him commenting on almost every post and sharing his views. So, just helping out people on the community forum helps you learn about the tool as well as his also contribution. You can always make code contributions. Now, since the code is open, right? You can see the source code. You can always go ahead, fix bugs, and then add more features and even contribute some notes. Funnily enough, we tweeted today about how one of our full-time employee, Ricardo, joined us. So Ricardo, on very early stage of N8N, he contributed 50 plus notes in just 3 months, and now he's working full-time with us. So that's the power of open source. And then you can always make code contributions, as I mentioned, and you can always create notes. So here is the link to the documentation where you can find how you can create notes for N8N, and you can create your notes for your favorite services. And that's the documentation, because I believe there's not always enough information in any documentation out there. There's always some information missing. So it's your chance to add that additional information in any place that you feel that information is missing. Now we are using ViewPress, and all the content is written again in Markdown. So with the github.dev, you can just press the dot on your keyboard, and it opens it on your own window, and you can start contributing over there. You can also contribute workflows. So the workflow that I showed you right now, you can easily contribute that on the workflows page. So it makes it easy for other community members to quickly get started. Simply copy those workflows from the workflows page, add it to their N8N instance. Now there might be a bit of concern like, hey, okay, but I am using my own credentials for this. So is it a good idea? So just give you an idea over here. It's absolutely fine, because when someone shares the workflow, they never share the workflow. They never share their credentials. So the credentials are decoupled with their workflows. And of course, there are a lot of other ways that you can contribute to N8N. You can write blog posts around N8N. You can share your automation journey. You can give talks at our community meetups or at any other meetups. And you can also share your feedback on the internet. And we have a very active community forum, and we always look out for feature requests coming in from our community. So if you think anything is missing out in there, and if you don't feel like coding it yourself, that's completely fine. Just hit us up on our community forum, send us a feature request, and we would be happy to code that for you. So that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm not sure if it's a good time to take questions, but if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or community forum, and just come say hi on our Discord server.
Thank you, Harshil. I have Arpit here, who's my co-founder and one of the maintainers of Appsmith. He's asking if you can share a recipe for GitHub issue assignment and maintenance. We just get flooded, right? I think that's something that you could contribute to everybody else.
That's I know you showed us how to do it, but I'm super lazy. So if you can just share the recipe so that we can just go ahead and use it.
Definitely. As I said, I'm still experimenting it with my own repo. but I will once I am done with it, I'll share it on the workflow page, and also, of course, I'm going to tweet about it, so you can find it over there as well.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Harshil. So we're gonna talk a little bit to my co-founder Arpit here, who's the chief maintainer and who started working on the Appsmith project. Nader from Supabase unfortunately can't make it. He seems ill. But we're gonna probably see him sometime later. So here I have my co-founder Arpit. He's been an engineer and a CTO for really like over a decade, and has been contributing to open source for probably like half that time. And he loves working on backend, not so much on front end. That's the reason he wanted to build Appsmith, so that he doesn't have other backend developers work on front end, just trying to make life easy for people who come after him. And that's why Arpit got started on Appsmith, and here we are today. So Arpit, where are you calling from, and how's it going for you? How's Hacktoberfest looking like for you?
So I'm calling in. I'm right now in New Delhi, in the capital of the country, and just landed here today morning. And Hacktoberfest has always been like a very exciting month. October has been a very exciting month because of Hacktoberfest. But since the last year, ever since we kind of launched Appsmith, for the first time, I've actually seen it from a maintainer's perspective, not a contributor's perspective, and which actually makes September a lot more fun, more than October itself, because the lead up to Hacktoberfest is super exciting for the project. Is getting everything prepped up, ensuring our docs are in order, our issues are in order. It's a great time to do some spring cleaning within your own repository.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been busy trying to detail out our issues, add the correct labels, ensure that the issues only touch. It's not so difficult to contribute those issues here. Yeah, it's been busy, and I thank Arpit for pushing us to keep participating in Hacktoberfest every year.
Yeah.
So Arpit, do you wanna talk a bit about how do you actually contribute to Appsmith? Maybe go over a quick overview there.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Can I share my screen?
Yes, go for it.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Awesome. So first of all, so for everybody out there, so Appsmith is a low-code app developer project, as Abhishek said, right? And you can obviously find us on GitHub. So we are github.com, appsmith.org/appsmith. That's our repo. We have a beautiful README page. And for Hacktoberfest, what we've also done is we have a dedicated site, hacktoberfest.appsmith.com, where you can find a lot of information about the activities that we're doing during Hacktoberfest during this month. So there are a bunch of ways that you can contribute to the project. Obviously, there is engineering issues, there's bug fixes, there's features. There's obviously, as Harshil said, is documentation. Every project always lacks documentation. You can never have enough English inside your JavaScript. So please contribute more English. That's a great way to kind of get started with open source if you're new to open source. And obviously, the reason we do all of this is for a T-shirt, right? So there are a lot of goodies. There are a lot of things to incentivize and get your journey started with Appsmith. And you can find a lot of information here on hacktoberfest.appsmith.com. Before I go into a little more detail about how do you get started with the project, let me just show a very quick demo of Appsmith for anybody who's not seen the product yet. Appsmith is a drag and drop builder that allows you to build internal tools and internal applications that you can use within your team. And you can integrate this with any API, any database, and actually just publish something very, very quickly. So one of the things, so this is, an actual admin manual that we use internally within Appsmith. It's called A-Force. If you are an Avengers fan, it's the first all-female, superhero movie. That's where our entire customer success support team is. That's what they're called. They're A-Force. So as you can see, you can do a bunch of tables, charting, etc. We also link all our support emails. This comes to us through Zendesk, which there's a bunch of people who require some support. And for people who are on A-Force that week or that fortnight, you can literally just go through this and click a button and say, oh, this seems to be like a bug. Let me just create this as a GitHub issue. And if we go to our GitHub issues, we should hopefully see this. Okay, so we have a demo effect. No problem.
I think I just saw an error there.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't see that. That's okay. That happens. But the idea over here is that you should be able to, edit applications, move elements around, and actually just tie it into certain APIs. So we'll just very quickly edit this app. Yeah. So the whole reason why we started Appsmith was because, as Abhishek was saying, I'm not a big fan of CSS because I've never gotten my head around doing it. I don't know how people understand it. But let's say, I don't like the text here. I want to place it here. So I can rearrange the text. I can choose to say, hey, it's not selected messages. I want to change it to something else. So we can update text, move elements around. We have a bunch of UI elements that you can use within your application. So there are a bunch of UI widgets that you can use to make your app prettier, more useful. And my favorite part of Appsmith is obviously being able to write arbitrary JavaScript across the board in any field. So over here, for example, I can literally just say, so we include the Lodash function. So I can write arbitrary JavaScript, _.add 1, 2, which adds these two numbers. And you can see that the display is 3. And the same logic sort of extends across the board. Here's our API editor. So I can hit any API. So right now, for example, we're fetching all the labels from GitHub's API. And you can see the response over here as well. And you can literally just add, again, over here, let's say I want to add a random key that I'm going to send out. I'm going to send GitHub a random header as well. And this actually just shows up. So the ability to write arbitrary JavaScript is what makes Appsmith powerful. And that's my favorite part of Appsmith. And there are a bunch of data sources that you can integrate with. There are a bunch of databases, obviously APIs, Google Sheets is there. So if you just have Google Sheets, that's also good enough. In order to get started with Appsmith itself, like I said, visit our repo. And we've put in some effort into our contributing guide. So we've laid down our code of conduct, and we've laid down, the places where, we believe external contributors can do, can get their feet wet with the project. So over here, for example, here's the code contribution guide. And the first thing to obviously do any code contribution is find good first issues. Do check out good first issues. To be very honest, we've put in a lot of effort tagging them. We have a lot of issues open. We've tried them, we've filtered them down, and we've ensured that these are actually good first issues. You're not going to spend like an entire week and realize that, hey, this is too complicated. That shouldn't happen with you. And And we also have steps on developing how do you run. So there are two main components to Appsmith. So there's a browser side code, so that's the client side code, and server side code, which is in Java. So the front end is React and the back end is Java. So depending, poison of your choice, select the sort of module that you want to actually contribute to. So you could, for example, if you want to, if you're a JavaScript aficionado, please choose the client code base. We've kind of created an entire video. If you're a person who kind of learns through videos, we've created a video tutorial for you to get set up with Appsmith. And if you are, and there are obviously, a bunch of steps that are required for you to get the project up and running. Don't worry, it's not a lot of steps. It's literally 4 steps. That's not a lot. Things generally work more often than not seamlessly. And same thing with the Java code as well. Sorry, my bad. You can kind of look at the Java code base. We use a very popular framework called Spring Boot. And you can like literally here here we have, because we are like fun people, the 5th step here is literally just have fun. Okay, so it's also 4 steps, but the 5th is have fun with whatever you're doing. When you are contributing to like any project, once I get Harshil's workflow up and running with Appsmith, till that point, one of the things that we typically, this is something that we saw a lot in the previous edition of Hacktoberfest. So this is a request to everybody is, first, before working on an issue, please claim the issue. So which means like commenting over here and asking nicely, for the issue to be assigned to yourself before you actually get started with it, because otherwise it just leads to a lot of heartburn when you start working on an issue, you solve a bug, but somebody else gets the credit for it. So please don't let that happen to you. So in this case, so this is my life now. I just kind of talk to myself. So that's me asking for the issue to be assigned to me and me assigning it back to me. And yeah, and after this point, you choose the editor of your choice. Once the issue is assigned to you, you could use, as Andrea said, github.dev to actually contribute a lot of good first issues. You can actually get them done with github.dev. You don't actually need to set anything up on your local, and raise a pull request from there. Another, good sort of practice, being a community member is if you claim an issue, try raising a pull request in a reasonable amount of time. 2 to 4 days is typically what we think is a reasonable amount of time. If you don't have the bandwidth, please be honest about it and just give up the issue. And it's absolutely no shame in saying, hey, I'm slammed this week. I just can't do this. Like, let the project move on. That's perfectly okay. And once you kind of raise a pull request, after that point, I'll show an example pull request over here. A bunch of, like any other project, a bunch of checks sort of run. Once you see all green ticks, automatically the maintainers get notified and they will review your code and automatically merge it in. So you don't have to worry about merging your code in. That's the maintainer's responsibility. All you need to ensure is all the checks are green. That's it. You might get some review comments. That's okay. It's a learning experience for everybody. Just resolve those comments, get the green tick, and you're good to go. That's largely it from my end. That's largely it from my end about Appsmith and contributing and being a part of the Appsmith community. So whether it's Appsmith, whether it's GitHub, N8N, or any other project, highly encourage people to kind of do participate in it. Your life will change after this. It literally did for us. So the reason Appsmith is open source is because 5 years ago I started my open source journeys. That's why we are like, okay, this project has to be open source.
Thanks, Arpit. I have a question. Do you own any t-shirts that do not belong to other companies?
Not anymore. I think I have like one or two that I generally wear to, like, if I'm going on like to a fancy restaurant, that's when I would wear like a non-branded t-shirt. Otherwise, everything that I own is invariably branded by I've just been to too many tech conferences now.
And too many Hacktoberfests.
Yeah.
So Arpit, Harshil, Andrea, this is a question actually for all three of you. I would love for each one of you to answer it. What are the kind of contributions that you would like to see that maybe you don't see enough of, or maybe it's something that you've been hoping that somebody contributes? I would love to hear from you. Maybe Andrea, you could answer it first.
Wow. So super selfishly, obviously, I'm going to say our documentation. It will be great. The GitHub as a platform has scaled so much and added so many features. We're shipping so fast. And part of that, and, it's not by design, but it just, when you're putting things out there, sometimes the documentation kind of becomes not as front and center as it should be. And we have an amazing team working on it, and we have some really exciting things coming there. But this is something that's been open source for a reason, because you, the user who are in the site every single day, might see something that actually we are missing because we're in there also all the time, right? And that's just human nature. When you're sort of staring at the same thing forever, you miss the most obvious things. So I do encourage everyone, as you're going through even simple things as the onboarding onto GitHub, enabling your dependencies, setting up your first action, whatever it is that you're doing, or even doing a pull request, there might be some improvements to be made in the way that we're communicating that to make it more user-friendly, to make it more explicit. So shout out to the docs team. They're doing amazing work. And for this Hacktoberfest, they actually internally challenge our employees to help triaging and just get in there and also participate in that, regardless whether you're a technical writer or not. So everyone, please do come take a look. And if you are, of course, if you're not ready to do a pull request, there are so many things that you can do. You can just open a draft pull request now. You can go into our GitHub community at github.community and start a post and have the conversation. If you're looking for folks that maybe you want to pair with someone, maybe there is a specific section in the documentation that you're like, wow, we could really do this much better. Hey, let's find somebody that will pair with you and let's get it going. I think it's not an afterthought, but when you're shipping fast and you're trying to build the best tools ever, oftentimes you just don't have the time to have everything like absolutely and perfectly explicitly laid out. I'm super guilty of this. Even though I can point you to like 10 different articles on writing like really good commits, my commits are absolutely doo-doo because, I'm like, okay, fast, go, next. But there are so many things, like so many advantages for yourself too. When you're starting to contribute to documentation, you do retain so much more, and then you can help others, right? So if you have experience giving this type of contributions, hey, form a little group, come to the community, let's pair up, let's see what we can find. I know that you have to have, I believe it's 4 contributions to have the Hacktoberfest t-shirt, but again, real talk, this is for so much more than the t-shirt. This is our community collaboration. This is our making, I'm gonna sound so cheesy, but just improving all our lives. I agree with you, Arpit. Your life will change for sure. So, you have everything to gain from just engaging. So I'm happy to answer questions about that directly. I share on the YouTube channel a link 3, but I guess I'll share it here on the chat as well. Because I'm setting up some time in the upcoming weeks to just do community calls. So I'll set my calendar there, and the people that complete the challenge will get the password for my calendar. So you can just drop in a quick 15. And if you're interested in documentation, not sure where to start, I'm happy to pair with you, and then we can take a look. If it's not documentation that you're interested, there is a lot of open source projects that are GitHub projects like the CLI. We have a text editor, but VS Code is so nice though. And so, there are actions there. I mean, the Actions Marketplace has so many things that, we definitely, it could use some love when it comes to documenting. So
I bet.
Reach out.
Yeah. We know the feeling. I think both Appsmith and N8N would know the feeling. We constantly keep getting asked for, hey, where is the documentation for this? but it just came out 2 days ago. We are still getting to it. So any help there? And the best part about documentation is, even if you're not such a great programmer, you can just get started. It's such a great way to understand how Git works. And once you do it, you realize how simple it is. And yeah, so that's great. Thanks, Andrea. Harshil, what about you? What kind of contribution would you like to see?
I started my first contribution with documentation as well. So I feel like that's the best place with someone who is just new to any kind of project. The documentation is the best place to get started. Because again, it's not just, and it's not because you don't have the technical skills, it's because you kind of lack a little bit of knowledge about that particular project. So, a documentation is the correct way to learn about that project, as well as learn how the contribution cycle works in that particular organization. Because often, like the contribution workflow is the same. The way people use Git remains the same, but the flow of accepting the pull request, assigning the issues, it depends from organization to organization. So, it just gives you a familiarity about how a particular organization works. You get to learn more about Git. And I remember I used to like just, the git add, git commit, and all those basic commands. But at one point I was kind of challenged to learn and about a git ref, and I still don't remember those commands. But that's the fun part, of getting started with documentation, because I think it's the first step to contributing to open source. So I am actually looking forward to people contributing to documentation. But again, it has been my experience, and I've heard this a lot from our community members, that once you create a node, which is basically an integration in N8N, you kind of get hooked with creating more and more of that. So I am also looking forward to, contribution of more and more nodes for N8N.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Harshil. Arpit, what about you? I hope it's not documentation.
No, if you'd gone with me first, I would have said documentation. But because Andrea and Harshil have mentioned that, I'll go to one thing that I think a lot of open source projects out there don't actually see that much love from users and from the community. And a great way to kind of actually give back to a project that you use is to write about it and talk about it on blogs, on YouTube videos, on your own channel, on your personal domains, right? So in that way, you don't really need to maybe know about the code base, or you may not be a developer as well, but just showing a little bit of love for the project actually just maybe like takes it a little bit further. You give the maintainer, you give that dopamine hit to the maintainer, keeps the maintainer going for a little bit longer, and just keep that cycle going, right? So I would love to see a lot of projects get more love from the community, and a shout out from the community.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, we use so many of these projects, but we never tell the person who worked on it how much we appreciate and love their work. So that's a really good point. Do you have a now it's a chance to actually plug in a project that's lesser known that you love?
So every now and then, curl gets that. I forget the maintainer's name. Something with S. I forget his name. But I think curl doesn't see as much love as it should. So I think big shout out to the curl maintainers and the maintenance team there. And the other one that I would kind of definitely give a shout out to is Pivotal Software for Spring Boot framework. It's an incredibly well designed framework that truly I mean, it's beautiful. It's an entire a book on data structures and framework design. Just look at Spring Boot. That's it. Everybody can learn from there.
Thanks. Harshil and Andrea, would love a plug for one of your lesser known favorite open source projects.
I don't think it's lesser known, but it's well known, but like we don't give it enough love. So everyone, go take a look at the curl. Go take a look at the curl, Daniel's project. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable that one person started this, and it's been basically, I mean, it impacts the way that you do anything. If you write any kind of code at some point or another, you're gonna use curl, you're gonna interact with it. Yeah. So it's well known, but it could use some love too, right? So yeah, check out curl for sure. CURL.
Yeah, we love curl. We have curl import in Appsmith, and it's probably the most used way of connecting to an API inside Appsmith. Curl, yeah, we're gonna say hello to Daniel. Is that what the creator's name is? Daniel. All right.
Daniel Stenberg, yeah.
Daniel Stenberg.
Shout out to Daniel.
Many thanks. Yes. Harshil, what about you? Oh, I think Harshil has disappeared or maybe dropped off without telling his favorite project. I'm going to go, and we're going to probably end with this. One of my favorite open source projects is D3JS. There are a lot of graphing software out there, graphing libraries out there, but that's one library that I've just appreciated because I've seen it being used in so many of these products that I use. I've not personally built anything on it, but I've seen it just build out such complicated and lovely charts. And especially when I used to working on AI startup before. So many of these AI projects use D3JS to graph things out. And so shout out to D3JS. So with that, we're actually going to end this. It's great to be grateful to open source software, and I think it's a good note to end this call on. I want to thank Andrea for spending time with us, and thank you all of you here who've joined us, Chris, Faber, Risha, Varun, Allison. Thank you so much for joining us, and happy contributing to Hacktoberfest. It starts from tomorrow. Let's get started and let's have some fun this month.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thanks, everyone. See you on the internet.
See you.
Bye.